So Michael Byrd, this is the guy that shot Ashli Babbitt, and I talked very briefly about it on the last episode, where he was going to be speaking out in an interview on MSNBC, and exactly as I predicted, the guy got up there and entirely lied and just tried to play as the victim. Here's a little bit of what he was talking about in this interview.
We see your arm out there for a considerable amount of time. Were you wavering?
I was taking a tactical stance. You're ultimately hoping that your commands will be complied with, and unfortunately they were not.
When you fired, what could you see? Where were you aiming?
You're taught to aim for center mass. The subject was sideways, and I could not see her full motion of her hands or anything. So I guess her movement, caused the discharge to fall where it did.
And what did you think this individual was doing at that moment?
She was posing a threat to United States House of Representatives.
Her family points out that she was not armed.
That's correct.
The fact that you weren't aware whether she was armed or not, did that alter the decision making?
It did not.
Could you give us the nature of some of those threats?
They talked about, killing me, cutting off my head, very vicious and cruel things.
Racist things?
There were some racist attacks as well. It's all disheartening because I know I was doing my job.
Given the nature of the threats that you describe, do you have any concern about showing your face and identifying yourself?
Of course I do. That is a very vital point, and it's something that is frightening. I believe I showed the utmost courage on January 6th.
So let's keep in mind here for a second that Ashli Babbitt was 5'2", unarmed, didn't do anything, okay? She was literally climbing through a window there at the Capitol. And I've mentioned this so many times, but there were literally police officers right behind her. Literally the police right behind her. If they had a problem with her going through a window or something, why didn't anyone there that was right behind her grab her or something like that? It never happened. In other words, what we saw was another display where police were allowing these things to take place. And of course, you have trigger happy Michael Byrd being the one that shoots this unarmed woman right there. Now, there was no warnings given. There was nothing like this. If you ask any reasonable officer in the United States, was this justified or not? I assure you that none of them will tell you that it was. Because nothing qualifies for basically shooting somebody with zero warning. It's the equivalent of somebody doing something. I'm not saying that her going through the window was the best decision in her entire life. It's not what I'm saying. All I'm getting at is that when somebody's doing something, you don't just get to just pull out your gun and just shoot him immediately as this is happening. Like, something had to be done, some type of warning, some system here, right? Some threat to your life. Nothing even took place yet, and somebody's life was lost as a result of it. So this guy's, of course, trying to play the victim, trying to pretend as if, oh, I got the death threat, so it's so bad, it's the worst thing I've ever dealt with. I mean, it's just ridiculous that MSNBC, of course, this is the fake news right here. This is the fake news right in front of your face where you're seeing them coddle this guy, pretend like, oh, his story is so important that he's coming out. He's so brave, right? He's so brave to do this in the face of all of these threats that he's receiving. Well, here's the husband of Ashli Babbitt and their lawyer as well chiming in on this issue.
Aaron Babbitt is the husband, the widower of Ashli Babbitt. Terrell Roberts is the family's attorney. They both join us now. Thanks so much for coming on. Aaron, first question to you. How did you feel when the NBC News anchor asks the officer who shot your wife to death, your unarmed wife to death, without warning her first, before shooting her, asked him, isn't he the real victim here? Isn't he the one who's really suffering? How'd that make you feel? I was kind of wondering.
Pissed off. I mean, I've only heard a couple of clips so far, Tucker, at this point. It's not airing until 7 o'clock out here. I read the full transcript of it. I had not heard that one clip that you just played. My agitation level's actually going through the roof right now, where he admitted he didn't really care if she was armed or not, or unarmed or not. He didn't care. So, yeah, we're going down a bad rabbit hole right now.
Yeah, especially if the national media congratulate him for this and the entire left as one gloats over your wife's death as if she deserved it because she voted for the wrong person. I mean, they're kind of saying that, and I'm sorry to make you feel even worse. I can't imagine how you feel now, but they're kind of saying that she deserved it and her life had no meaning. I mean, what else are they saying?
They've been saying that. They've been saying that all along. And I don't even want to hear him talk about how he's getting death threats and he's scared. I've been getting death threats since January 7th, 2, 3, 5, 10 a day. You know, and all I did on January 6th was become a widower. So you're going to have to suck it up, bud, and take it.
Yeah, well, that's... Mr. Roberts, let me ask you, we know Michael Byrd's name. By the way, the fact that he left a loaded firearm with no safety in a men's room and never reported it and kept his job anyway tells you that something's very wrong with the Capitol Police. That's totally outrageous. But I just want to ask you, as an attorney who is involved in these cases, when was the last time you saw a police officer involved in a fatal shooting whose identity wasn't revealed to the public ever? It was never revealed. He decided to reveal it. Has that ever happened that you're aware of?
Not to my knowledge. I've never seen it.
So what could possibly be the justification? I mean, there are police shootings all the time, and we've defended a lot of cops who've been involved in them, not all, some. But their names are always public. I mean, aren't they public officials? On what basis can you hide the name of a cop involved in shooting a citizen?
It's just unprecedented. It's never happened. And I think the U.S. Congress has to take responsibility for that. Capitol Police are organized under the Congress. They have ultimate responsibility for that fact. It's a shame.
So, Aaron, I got to ask you, have any members of Congress, any elected officials reached out to you to say, you know, we're going to get to the bottom of this because we care because she was a veteran and a citizen and your wife and her life had meaning? You know, her life mattered, I guess would be one way to put it. Has anybody stuck up for you at all in any way?
I mean, not for me personally that I've spoken with, but Dr. Gosar is actively, talking to my mother-in-law. So he's definitely helping. You got Louis Gohmert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So there's a couple. I mean, it's 0.5% of 99.5%. So I mean, it's not enough. So we need all help we can get. It's a Goliath, David versus Goliath fight we got going on here. We have a legal fund. If we can push it for Ashli, go to the Twitter page, check out the legal fund. It's on Give, Send, Go. We need every dollar we can get because we are going to have the weight of the U.S. government coming down, raining down on us. So, all the help we can get.
They've taken enough from you. You're not allowed to just shoot people and then blow it off like it's no big deal because you don't like their politics. That is a precedent
Unless you work for the Capitol Police.
Yeah, I got it. Gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I'm sorry about all this.
Thank you, Tucker.
And I'll tell you what, this is the only time you're going to see people on the left actually praising a police officer. One was I think the 4 officers that came up about the January 6th thing a few weeks ago. And now Michael Byrd as well. They're going to be the ones that are saying, oh, this was great. This guy's an American hero, right? Meanwhile, they spent all of last year burning cities to the ground because of what police officers apparently did that they felt was not justified. Please tell me this has nothing to do with race. I wish that it didn't, but it does. It does. The fact is that a police officer shot somebody that was against the left, and they are fine with that. They are perfectly fine with that in this situation. It just goes to show that the left isn't willing to compromise like some people on the right are willing to do. Because when last year happened, especially in the very early days of the George Floyd thing, before we really knew all of the details, everybody on the right was saying, guys, we all agree this looks bad, okay? Everybody was saying that at first, before we had any of the details. The left isn't going to do that here. They're never going to, it doesn't matter the situation at all. They're never going to be the ones that are going to say, hey guys, this looks bad. Like, this just wasn't justified. But they don't care about the details. They don't care about the information about what's going on. The fact is that had this been reversed, under any other circumstance, the left would be losing their mind right now. This officer would have been charged in a court of law by now. Everything would have been over for this officer's entire life had the roles been reversed, had he shot somebody that was a left-wing person or a BLM supporter. They were the same ones last year that were telling everybody that it was entirely justified to burn cities to the ground, that it was what was necessary, that we needed to allow them to loot, to allow them to steal, to allow them to destroy property. But the second that some Trump supporters go protest at the Capitol building and one lady jumps through a window, all of a sudden, that's just license to shoot and kill. I'm not seeing how any of that adds up. This is why I don't care what they really say at all, to me. The same defund the police crowd, trying to back a police officer. Sure, yeah, I'm not falling for that at all. I don't think anybody else is either. I mean, it's just clear as day that they don't care about anything in this situation except for the fact that it is politically in their benefit. It's what they believe, so they're going to go along with it no matter what it is. They don't care if it's justified. They don't care if it's not. Details, doesn't matter. This clip from the William Hall Show is sponsored by the Second Amendment Jerky Company. This is a company founded on a simple idea: make the best beef jerky available and donate to the efforts and organizations that help support the Second Amendment. And let me tell you, this is awesome beef jerky. No gimmicks. Go to 2ajerky.com to support the Second.